Today I'm joined by Matt Gauci, Managing Director of NKL, ticker NKL, which, as the name suggests, is on the hunt for nickel and nickel copper sulfide deposits. The company has recently announced it will shortly commence a drilling program at its Cosmos South nickel project in the Walloon Greenstone Belt in Western Australia. Welcome, Matt.
Yeah, g'day, Colin. Good to be with you.
Cheers. Matt, first up, I guess, what excited NKL initially about the Cosmos South project, and how did you get your hands on this asset?
Yeah, so part of our project generation capabilities is we've built a nickel prospectivity model, which compiles all your geophysical, geochemical and geological data across the eastern Yilgarn and the western Yilgarn, seeking nickel mineralisation or the most prospective areas for nickel. And that was the basis of our project generation, for which we then clearly went about acquiring the Cosmos South project. Other than driven technically by the data, clearly it's one of the best nickel addresses in the world. Obviously got IGO to the north of us, expanding the Cosmos operations, BHP Nickel West to the south of us, expanding the Leinster operations, and we're pretty much in the epicenter, smack bang in the middle between those two operations. So other than those two parameters, we clearly identified a pretty significant EM anomaly, which is up to 16,000 Siemens, so it's a very strong EM anomaly, around 580 metres in length, and from 80 metres down to about 850 metres in depth. So it's a very large, very strong EM anomaly. And in terms of the acquisition of the project, we're fortunate enough to have an existing shareholder who's a prospector that held the project and wanted to vend it into a nickel early stage nickel exploration company such as NKL. So we managed to do a deal and all done and dusted pretty quickly. So that's pretty much how it came about.
You mentioned you're close to IGO and BHP ground. I guess, how has it remained so underexplored despite its close location to these operations?
Sure, it was actually explored by WMC back in the day, but it wasn't explored on the basis of having moving loop EM and fixed loop EM studies done to define the conductors or the bedrock conductors that we're targeting. They were going on the basis of very wide-spaced magnetic surveys, and so they were actually looking for shallow disseminated nickel, and so they drilled a couple of holes to the depth of about 30 metres, but that drilling clearly is not deep enough, given the anomaly commences at 80 metres and given the anomaly was defined post that old WMC work. So they clearly didn't have modern techniques to focus on the opportunity, and didn't really seek massive sulfides at depth, clearly, given the EM anomaly that we have. So it was obviously dropped and prospectors picked it up, and prospectors just happened to be shareholders of NKL, so it all worked out pretty well.
Now, Cosmos South lies in the Walloon Greenstone Belt. What is the significance of this belt?
Yeah, look, it's globally significant at the end of the day. We've got to remember back in the day that Kerry Harmanis sold Cosmos to Xstrata for 2.3 billion back in 2010. So it's now obviously been taken on by IGO, who took over Western Areas to the tune of 1.5 billion, I think it was, which is important in terms of land valuation. And then clearly you've got the smartest guys in the room to the south of us, and BHP Nickel West continuing to expand Perseverance and the Leinster operations. So these deposits are all komatiite nickel sulfide, and the relevance of komatiite nickel sulfide, particularly when you get to the important stage of delivering material to your metallurgists, is that it's very low in impurities and easy to process. So it's a good clean product, and komatiite mineralisation is what we're looking for, similar to Cosmos and similar to Leinster. So it's a very, very strong, obviously world-class belt that's one of the world's better and richest nickel producing districts going around, and the smartest guys in the room to the north and south of us. We're in good company.
They're about to begin a drilling campaign at Cosmos South. Maybe you could just tell us about this campaign and what you're hoping to uncover from it.
Yeah, sure. So I've recently had approvals from West Australian Government for our program of works, and clearly from the traditional owners from a heritage perspective. So we've designed the drill program around 2 drill pads, 4 to 6 holes, totaling about 1,500 metres of diamond drilling. Having been out there recently doing a field visit, it's just fantastic access, just straight off the Cosmos operations, about 2 kilometres south on really good existing tracks down to the drill pads. Hardly any vegetation clearing required, nice flat land. And then, the DDH1 have been contracted to do the drilling, good friends of ours, and they're very busy at Cosmos, so mobilisation is not going to be too far, which is good. And importantly, the program supported by the West Australian Government EIS program, where we received a grant for circa $200,000 for the diamond drilling program. So it's an absolute no-brainer to have a crack at these EM anomalies and ascertain what we have. You speak to any good geophysicist, nickel geophysicist and nickel geologists, and to have an anomaly this large and this strong, up to 16,000 Siemens, we're thinking it's almost certainly got to be massive sulfide. So time will tell. Obviously, the truth is in the drill bit.
Yep.
Yeah, but we're pretty excited about it, and clearly it could be a game changer, given, let's look at Cosmos back in the day with such a large takeover once the definition of Cosmos was uncovered. So we're in a good spot.
And then over the next 6 months, what's on the horizon for Nickel X?
Yeah, so clearly the 4 to 6 holes diamond drilling at Cosmos is the first horizon. That'll guide what the second horizon is, because clearly if we're intersecting what we believe we're going to be intersecting, then we'd be ramping up that program to 10, 20 holes if warranted. So a bit of a moving test, as early stage exploration always is. But it'll be all about Cosmos South in the next 6 months as a priority. As a secondary opportunity, we've recently acquired the Walloon nickel project in the West Yilgarn, looking for Julimar style nickel copper PGEs. And again, that's just a cracking project, covers the entire Barra greenstone belt in the West Yilgarn. Historical soil sampling, auger drilling and sampling has uncovered just a fantastic geochemical anomaly, which is very high tenure in nickel, copper, and in particular PGEs. So that project's granted. It's on private land. We'll be out there in a couple of weeks' time doing a reconnaissance field trip, and we're designing a close-spaced soil sampling program and a geophysics program, which will entail a close-spaced drone mag survey, and we'll likely do airborne EM just to understand whether there is any bedrock conductors there. But the soils are looking absolutely fantastic, and we'll have some more news flow on the Walloon nickel project in the next couple of days.
Very busy time at Nickel X, plenty of exploration and very, very exciting times ahead. Look, thanks very much for your time today, Matt.
Yeah, no worries, Colin. Good to be with you, mate.
Cheers.